Okay, good afternoon and welcome to our next video. This is an opportunity for you to meet some real-life Swan students. I have 5 Year 8s sat next to me who are going to have a conversation about some of their experiences here at the Swan School and some of the things they like most about coming here. We're going to start by allowing them to introduce themselves.
I'm Ion and I'm from 8B.
I'm Alian and I'm in 8H.
I'm Heidi and I'm in 8B.
I'm Emma and I'm the same as Heidi, I'm in 8B as well.
I'm Lucy and I'm in 8B.
Lovely, thanks very much guys. So let's start off, hopefully nice and easy. Can you tell me some of the things that you really like about coming here to the Swan? Alian?
So one thing I really like about coming to the Swan is that it's a really safe environment for us, and we know that we can enjoy and learn at the same time with no interference, and is the learning for us is really good because we have a safe environment, there's no bullying, and that's one thing that I really like about this one.
Great, thank you. Would everyone like to? Lucy, how about you?
I like coming to the Swan School because I really enjoy the lessons because I think they are very interesting and the way they are taught is very fun.
So, what are some of your favourite lessons here at the Swan? Heidi, what's your favourite lesson?
My favourite lessons are either science, I think, because there's always really something new to learn. It's always really fun, and we get to do cool activities where we get to talk to each other and share our opinions.
Emma, how about you?
I like science, so I like several subjects, but I think one of my favourites is probably science, just because our science teacher lets us ask a lot of questions, because 8B likes to ask questions.
Excellent.
And we get to ask
So
loads of questions.
Inquisitive minds.
Some of them off topic, some of them on topic.
Yeah. So we've got 2 budding scientists. Anyone got any other favourite subjects apart from science? Let's get Ian
I
and
would
go to
say
Lucy.
my favourite subject is math because I really like both teachers. And the questions they give are more hard, and if you finish the work, they give extra questions. Also, you'll be just sitting there doing nothing.
Excellent. So some really challenging work in maths that you're enjoying doing. Perfect. And let's go to you, Lucy.
My favourite lessons are because I quite enjoy drawing, and I also enjoy science because it's quite fun because you sometimes get to do practicals.
Excellent. So when you started, Alian, you said your first thing was that it was a really kind of safe environment and kind of well structured. Obviously, one of the things that some people do know about our schools, this is a school where we have really, really high expectations of your behaviour, and we have very clear rules. Would any of you like to tell us anything about kind of your experience of that and how that feels to actually be here? Emma, let's start with you.
I think some people think that being a really strict school is a really terrible thing, like we're not allowed to do anything kind of thing, but I think it just helps being in a controlled environment of where we're focusing on one subject, even though sometimes we also have questions that go slightly off topic, but as in the lessons are very straightforward. You have to do this, this and this, the tasks are there, and it's not kind of a bit everywhere that you're kind of, what do I do next?
Yeah, so it really allows you to kind of focus on the learning. Heidi?
I forgot what I was going to say.
That's alright. Alian, we'll come back to you.
So I've gotten quite a few detentions, but what I've seen from there is that since year 7 I've gone a lot less, because obviously it helps me reflect off what I've done, and if we didn't have these expectations we wouldn't be able to reflect off anything, because we would just be doing the same thing over and over again. But once I've done something that I shouldn't have done, when I'm in detention, it gives me time to reflect on that. So when I come out of detention, the next time I 90% won't do that.
Yeah, it's all about learning from mistakes.
Yeah.
Ian, did you want to add something?
Yeah, I think it's not, when people think about a strict school, they see it really bad, as Emma said, but then here it's a good strict. There's a very clear reason why you're strict, and the teachers are nice as well in return. Yeah.
So tell us about your teachers. So what are your kind of relationships like with your teachers, Heidi?
The teachers all they kind of understand us, and they let us ask questions, and they really just understand us.
Emma?
I like the teachers because they're all, as Heidi said, really understanding, but they don't if the question is, let's say, off topic from the subject, they won't say it's off topic, I don't want to hear it. It's either that because they want to be concentrated on a specific topic because it's super important, spacing out future careers, or it's kind of like, what do you want, like what question is it? Is it relevant? They ask. So it's not kind of like, I don't want to hear it. It's more of a like, what is it you want to say? Can I answer the question?
So making the time to kind of get to know you and what you want to say.
Yeah.
Lucy?
Like Emma said, you kind of get a sense of when you can ask this slightly off-topic question, and I think we get a lot of off-topic questions in science, but it's quite an interesting subject. And but it's not. Sorry,
Yeah, Ariane.
One thing I really like about the teachers is that they will always they will have their side where they're focusing on helping us learn, helping us excel in what we're doing, and obviously on the playground, anywhere else, they have their nice side where they socialise with us like we would socialise with our friends. So it's really nice because then we get to know the teachers and the teachers get to know us, which is then another advantage in how we can excel in learning and get better at what we do.
So we're really fair to say that you're pushed in lessons and you have, they've got really high expectations of your academic success, and we are strict, but there's also kind, warm relationships. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah.
Yeah. Last 3 points on this, and then we'll move on to the next question. Emma.
I really like the fact that the other day with in history with Mr. Davis, after the lesson I asked her a question because in year 6 we did Dick Turpin, the Highwayman, and I wasn't sure, so currently we're doing the Stuarts because we're doing the Civil War, but I asked a question, I couldn't remember what period of time Dick Turpin came in, so I asked Mr. Davis and he gave me a really detailed answer and also linked the straight answer kind of went off like in different passages which are different things that I didn't know. So I think the questions you ask, also the answers you get given, broaden your knowledge of different topics of the same subject.
Great, thanks Emma. And Heidi?
You can always have a laugh with your teacher, like if you wear the wrong uniform, which happened to me on most days. They won't get angry at you or shout at you. They'll always laugh about it and say I'll give you detention, and then laugh about it.
Yeah, and
I think the teachers are really understanding, as everyone else said. They don't get frustrated if you don't know the answer to a question, or they make a really silly mistake.
Yeah, and I think that one of the interesting things I know about this school, because obviously this is your first secondary school, but I've been working at secondary schools for a long time, and it definitely feels to me that because there are those expectations there and the really kind of clear rules, that means the teachers are then free to have a laugh with you because everyone knows what the rule is and it's not personal. If I give Alian a detention, that's not because I don't like Alian, it's because everyone knows that he's broken the rule. We've spoken quite a lot about kind of your lessons. Are you able to tell me anything about tutor time at all? Because we do that for about 45 minutes a day, don't we? What kind of things do you do in tutor time? Let's start this side and go all the way around. Lucy.
So we do guided reading where you track rulers, and it's so you can't. I think it's so you can't get lost in the text. Or as if you read ahead or you can't keep up or something like that. And we also talk about we have assemblies now virtually because of coronavirus. So we do have to social distance.
Yeah.
But we talk about sometimes our values and sometimes about role models, lots of different things, and then we discuss it together and we're respectful, and we have some sort of rules, as in you do have a right to pass sometimes, or if you don't quite understand it, get it explained to you and stuff.
Great. I want to just pick up before we go on to the other comments. Lucy mentioned about guided reading. Would any of you be able to tell, because this will be something that's a bit new for people? I just said we'll go all the way around. So Emma, do you want to tell us about guided reading?
So guided reading is where everyone gets given a book and the teacher will read, and as we said, we track with a ruler. I think one downside for me about guided reading is that I'm quite confident in reading and I don't like tracking with a ruler because it kind of puts me off the story. I'm focusing on which line I'm reading rather than the story itself. I don't feel like I'm in the story. But that kind of happened in the first few cycles in year 7, and now I think I've just got used to it, that the ruler's kind of this, when I'm in the story, kind of, that the ruler's kind of just aside, it's not there, it's invisible, I'm in the story, I'm not bothered about the ruler.
There's quite a lot of detail about the ruler. Heidi, can you maybe tell us what guided reading is? Because I'm just very conscious that lots of people watching this will never have seen guided reading before. So what's the purpose? What kind of books are you reading?
We read lots of different books, some thick, some thin, and we normally all get the same book, so then we use a ruler under each line so we know which line we're on, and we can always not go off subject.
So what book are you reading in guided reading at the moment?
We are reading in guided moment, we're reading When Hitler Stole Pink Rabbit, I think that's what it's
And what were
called.
some of the books that you read last year? Do you want to tell us?
One book we read last year was Cider with Rosie, and lots of the books we read they are quite topical and have a meaning, and pretty much all of them have a moral. So I think the reason for that is probably because we can maybe relate to that, and it's something we can learn off of. And I think why guided reading is a really good thing is because we're not, because everybody's reading the same thing and everybody's focused. We know that everybody's focused, because even if some people don't like reading, if you do focus with it, go with it, then you will start to love reading. It was the same with me, and now I love reading.
Yeah, because they're quite hard books that we select for you as well, because obviously you're supported because you all read them together. Last couple of points on guided reading. We'll go Aya and then back to Emma, and then move on to the next bit.
When we're guided reading, some people in our school struggle to read and they have a hard time reading. So guided reading really helps them and then makes them like reading a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really nice, isn't it, to be read to. It's wish I got read to still. And Emma, last point.
One of the books we read last year was, I think it was something about King Arthur. I can't quite remember.
King of Shadows?
Eliza Arthur.
Eliza Arthur, yeah.
Sorry, I forgot the name of the book. But it was a really good book, and it was by the author of Mortal Engines. And it was a really good book because it kind of put you in the story, and I really liked it. It was set in the time of King Arthur, obviously, but it was about this girl who was kind of travelling the globe because, the area, I think it was Wales, and that was because the area she was in, I think Arthur had taken over, and her village had interpreted Arthur as a bad person because he invaded, when those, let's say back then when people invaded things, they were interpreted as bad people, although when you look at history now, they're interpreted as heroes. But she was, she ran away because there was a fire of all the raiders and kind of thing. And she meets lots of new friends, and then you find, lots of new friends, and then one of them, her friends, is a bit mysterious because, his mother.
Emma, I'm going to pause you there. Are you just going to give us a really, really deep summary of
That's my favourite bit.
I wonder whether we should. That's very, very interesting, and I would love to talk to you a bit more about that afterwards. But maybe, just in the interest of time, we'll move on to a slightly different question. If that's all right. So we're going to talk a little bit about kind of electives and what they are. So Heidi, do you want to talk about that?
Electives are clubs, but they're chosen clubs and everyone has to do them for an hour. They're after the last lesson you do a club, and they could be about art, they could be about outdoor activities, history, lots of different things, and they're always really interesting because the teachers, I think they're a bit more chill than in lessons. You kind of get to talk to the person next to you when you want, and you get to do lots of different things.
Yeah, great. Aya?
In electives, when you say you're forced to do it, people will say it's really boring or it's really bad. But I think electives are really fun in my opinion, and the teachers are really open when we're doing electives, and we have more opportunities to do stuff.
Can you give some examples of electives that you guys have done? So what did you do last year?
Last year I did the coding elective, which I found really fun and interesting because we used Scratch. It was probably the best elective at the time.
Yeah, what did you do, Alia?
So I did sports and coding, and one thing I like about electives is that people, when they choose to do something, obviously they want to do it maybe because they like doing it, or if they like doing it, they're probably good at it. So I think there's that challenge, because you know, like, there's people around you who are good at what they're doing, so it's like challenge, and you can get better, and it's quite fun as well, because it's something we've chosen, and we can, you know, do it and enjoy it. And like as Heidi said, the teacher's really open, and you know, it's like you won't get the expectations aren't as high.
Yeah. Well, they're different, aren't they?
Yeah, they're different,
so,
but because I think everybody's like really happy that they're doing something that they've chosen, because obviously work that we do in class is mandatory, and not obviously you would like it, but it's not something you would choose to do. So I think something that we choose to do is really good.
Yeah, great. Emma?
Another thing I really quite like about electives is that when I did drama club last year, which I really enjoyed, at the time in English we were doing A Christmas Carol, so our science teacher kind of made a replica, sort of simplified version of A Christmas Carol, and when we did the carol concert, I think it was in December, and it was really fun because we got to perform it in, I think it was Trinity College, but it was a really nice environment to be in. I think it really suited the sort of idea of Victorian times, kind of posh, Scrooge Victorian era.
Yeah, some kind of cross-curricular link there, so you were doing something in your elective that also helped you with something you were doing in English. And Lucy, which electives did you do last year?
Last year I did drama. I think I did drama and coding. And it was really fun. In coding, I made like a ping pong game, because there's videos on there that tell you how to do it, and then we learn the basic kind of thing of coding. I just started doing art before we stopped doing the electives, but I really enjoyed art because I like art as a lesson as well. And I think it's cool that we do electives because it's like you get to choose something. And it kind of, if you do a elective that kind of links to another lesson that you're actually doing, then you learn extra stuff about it, and maybe you'll do a bit better. I don't know.
Great. And one last question, just because I can see the time ticking away behind your head, Lucy. Family dining is something that we do here at the Swan that's in fact, very different to the way people eat lunch in other schools. Would anyone like to just tell our audience kind of a little bit about that? Heidi?
So family dining is normally like what we'd have at home. Like we all sit. There's a group of people who we sit at a table and we all have lunch together. We have like a chosen topic we're meant to talk about. The topics are normally so on Fridays we have gratitude, which we're meant to say like. After lunch, we're meant to say like who we're grateful for. Then the rest of the days we have something about our values. Yes, like integrity, kindness. I can't remember the other two.
That's alright.
And they're always really interesting and fun to talk about. You don't have to you don't have to talk about them all the time. But you meant at the end of it, you're meant to say like what your opinion on it.
Yeah, we choose people, don't we, and to speak in front of everyone. Let's go Ali on, please.
One other thing in family dining is we have topics that we speak about, and it's really good because then sometimes if you're just sitting at a table just eating your lunch, you have nothing to talk about. It's like the atmosphere isn't really friendly anymore, but like we always have something to talk about. It's really nice. And another thing is that we sit on tables. The teachers give us tables to sit on, which is really good because it's all inclusive, everybody's included. There's not just like the table with all the friends and then just one person on the other table, it's everybody. So you're opening up for everyone, and you will make a lot of friends, and yeah, it's really nice.
Lovely, thank you. And Emma, last.
I think linking to what Heidi said about the topic of conversation, the teachers don't kind of show you like a hawk. You're not like talking about this topic of conversation. We're allowed to talk about other things. I think when people think like we get the topic of conversation that it seems a really kind of strict thing. If you don't talk about it, then you're like big trouble. But actually, it's quite a relaxed environment, and that's kind of something that I think people don't understand, but just people kind of interpret it in the wrong way.
Yeah, that's a really good point, thanks. Let's go Heidi, and then Ian, I think you had your hand up. Or you're right now. Okay, Heidi.
On the topic of the actual lunches, they're always really different. We always have something. We have like week 1, week 2, and week 3, which are always like really different lunches. They're always really interesting and healthy.
Thank you very much. And vegetarian, right?
I'm a vegetarian.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, guys. That's been really, really, it's really interesting for me to hear everything you've got to say. And I know that people watching who are thinking about whether to come to this school are also going to be, have learned a lot from everything you've said. So thank you very much.
Bye-bye.